Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at Aegis Haven version 5. This is a deck that I adjust pretty much every meta because I really enjoyed this deck and it can pretty much be played in any meta. Last meta wasn't so great because of D-Shift, but the one before that and most of the ones before that, this deck has always been consistently good for me with some minor tweaks here and there to adjust to the certain meta. So if you have seen my previous Aegis Haven, if you remember that deck at all, there's just been a few adjustments here and there. I've loaded the Beast Calls into it, I've put a couple of Grimnirs and White Tigers, mostly the early stuff that I swapped out for other stuff that before I think we were trying to beat out a lot of, I wouldn't say aggressive decks, but more effect decks, so we had different kinds of cards in these slots, whereas now running the Beast Calls again is completely fine. They're just good value. Grimnir is great late and early game, and White Tiger not being targetable really hurts Burn Rune in particular, so it's a great card to carry with us. Other than that, Priest of the Cudgel, standard banish, along with everything else that is good banish cards. Tribunal, of course, you want to run 3 of those in pretty much every Haven deck, it's just that good of a card. One that in particular that I'm running, Hellblinder. Neutral card, so running anything, but this deck in particular I've found to be great to run it in. Since I didn't really have a good turn 7 play, where I actually have a half decent turn 5 play, this card is just amazing. I mean, Enhanced 7, obviously, you're going to be playing it only really at turn 7. At the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to a random enemy 2 times, so you're going to be clearing out anything with 4 or less health. You're going to be able to hit the enemy in the face for 4 if you clear their board quite effectively, and everything like that, which is awesome. That's why I love this card. You throw this down after you're in the late game if you haven't drawn your Aegis, or if you just need something else to fill out the board, this thing works great. That's why I'm running it as a 2 of. I've got double Aether. I'd probably run 3 if I had it, but I think 2 is kind of a sweet spot as well for a 6 drop. I really probably should be running Taurus though. Or Taurus? I don't know. The Bull. I think it's a 7 drop. That's something I'm going to consider probably putting in. I may end up getting rid of the boots. Maybe I might just lower some of the card numbers here. Like Sacred Plea is good. I still love that card over most others. Maybe I could drop 1 Tiger. Maybe drop, I don't know. I'll work it out. I'm probably going to drop at least 2 cards and put in a couple of the bulls. Maybe even try and fit 3 if I can. Maybe the one less Decree could work as well. We'll just have to wait and see. But at the moment, this is the deck I've been running and it's been performing quite well. I lost to a D-Shift, I think, by about 1 turn. It was pretty close, but since this is a lot later deck, it's expected to lose to D-Shift even after the nerf. Hey, Aegis Haven just really loses that pretty much straight away. Other than that, mirror matches, obviously first person Pelagus wins. Anyone who can do stuff like that is going to be pretty set. And other than that, focus on the early game unless you are in a mirror match, in which case keep Aegis or Aether, whichever one, well, probably Aegis. Aether has to be played turn 10 to have Aegis actually come out, so not too shabby. We'll get right into some games and check it out. So the first match I wanted to look at is, I'm pretty sure, Burn Rune. Burn Rune is quite popular and for good reason. It doesn't really have a major counter at all.
I guess you're looking for a fight.
But this deck does an okay job at definitely holding its own, and if once you pass about turn 6, you can nearly steamroll Burn Rune. But every Burn Rune match will be reasonably close, and this one is no exception. So we get a good early game. Black Inscripture is really good, especially against Magic Illusionist, which you really want to be able to deal with.
Crystals of snow shimmer in the
Snow White is also really good, just because it trades quite well.
Come gather round.
And of course, we do see the Magic Illusionist coming down first, although playing it on an empty board just seems like a little bit of a waste. I mean, no Earth Sigil to combo it with. Ugh, not a great play for them. But White Tiger should be good. Being able to block out effects is very important. So not being able to be hit by, say, a Golem or a Levi and stuff like that, other than AoE obviously, but Tiger's great.
I'm just a mage who's as old as dirt.
You're done for.
Not so lucky, Time Worn being probably the perfect thing to have there. Especially when you got Piercing Rune as a follow-up. This is why Earth Rune is so good. Because even when they're at a disadvantage, it only takes one card to really swing the game around. But we've got our own cards for that. That's where things like March Hare's Tea Time come in. It's basically an equivalent to Levi when you think about it. You're getting that 3 damage, costs 2 more to play, but you also have the option to summon a second one, which is advantage, and you also have bigger stats, which is nice. So, March Hare's Tea Time and Levi share a fair bit in common.
No! It won't be long now.
The Decree is also not too bad to have against Earth Rune. I mean, if they summon a bunch of rats, you can pretty easily clear them out. Not so lucky though, I don't really have anything to deal with this effectively. One more turn until Hellblinder comes in handy. So having to use this Tin Soldier was my only decent play. Sometimes you do want to save an evolve for the Aegis, but I find against Burn Rune, the March Hare's Tea Times just get you a lot more value overall. Although in this case, watching out for Dance of Death is really important. Otherwise I probably would have just used it as a trade instead. But it does mean the Hellblinders can come down quite easy, giving us 4 damage to their face. Not so lucky though, Mutagenic Bolt. At least it wasn't on a huge board. And we draw our second one, so we get 5 damage this turn. Well, 6 if you count the rat going off at the start. Puts them in a very dangerous spot, although they can do a lot of damage from hand normally, so that is something to watch out for. Some of these games will be a little longer, purely just because Haven tends to drag matches out a lot more than a lot of other decks. I mean, this rat makes my life difficult. We can hit the face, that's literally all I can really do. I didn't want to remove the rat here, just because they are on 1 health, meaning if it does go to the fact that they need 1 damage, it's going to be close. Unfortunately, no extra damage. They had that 1 Levi and that was it, putting us to 1-0. So very close, but we did take the match. We're following that one up with a blood game, so fairly different matchup.
Is fighting and despair all you know?
Very similar strategy though, try and get early game things that can really block the board. This hand is absolutely atrocious for that though. Tribunal's the only good card, and even then it's too late against aggro blood. You really need your 2-drops. So Snow White is perfect. We're going to probably get a 2 to 3 for 1 off that Snow White alone, which is always good. And Beast Call is actually an okay setup, especially if they didn't have a turn 1. Beast Call would have been the better play here. Unfortunately, they do have the turn 1. Not worth Blackened Scripture though. We know that Blood has a lot of options, especially things like Urius, where Blackened Scripture is going to be really good to play. Fortunately, we also drew Double Decree, which, once we do get to turn 6, is probably going to come in handy, even if we're just clearing one thing to stay alive, while also at the same time limiting what they actually have.
I'm not doing this for you.
So this is one reason why I like to save things like Blackened Scripture here. Getting rid of that 2-3 and allowing us to take out both bats, while also setting up the Beast Call so we don't need to worry about that. And White Tiger is an amazing ward, so once that's needed, we'll be set. Not so lucky though. Of course, Blood Wolf. Blood Wolf is Blood Wolf. I always liked Blood Wolf as a card. Self-damaging while also being Storm, and having a great way to finish your opponent off.
No!
Get a pretty good draw though. That Tribunal was absolutely perfect there. Otherwise, I probably would have just had to have rammed the Snow White twice and maybe thrown out a Tiger. But this way I get to keep the Snow White, we get to set up our Tribunal, so, you know, a couple turns from now we're going to get an extra bit of value out of it.
Witness the power.
And of course they have to evolve the Urius.
No more.
This is where I'm not so lucky. Not really having what I need right this second, except for the draw. The draw is absolutely golden. I do decide to evolve this tiger because I do have 2 points of evolve left, and I thought no point leaving it just in case they do play something. This way, if they do, they're going to either have to force the evolve, as an example, Influencer right here, force that evolve out,
So intoxicating.
or basically letting me do what I like. I could have easily used the tiger to get rid of that with the evolve, but drawing that tribunal was much better. Especially since next turn the other tribunal is going to go off. So using the evolve on the bird here for 4 damage. Putting it to 10 is risky because it does put them into vengeance, but I've pretty much sussed out that this is full on aggro blood at this point. So them being in vengeance really isn't the biggest risk for me. If they were vengeance blood, it's something I would have kept in mind a little bit more. So again, another turn where we don't really get anything. This body for a 4/5 body is basically all this is now. We've pretty much just got to stop their resources while dealing damage. So just being able to continually clear their board while at the same time trying to play as much as I can is always better. I do decide just to get that damage in, because we do have Priest to play next turn anyway. And now we have another way to remove things in the red hot boots, which is a lot better than using a decree, honestly. So red hot boots comes in pretty handy here. It is a shame I got to leave that 2/3 up, but I can't think of anything that can actually deal 4 damage straight off the bat outside of Dark General. So killing off that 2-drop was probably good, or that 1-drop, sorry, with 2 attack. Just in case they did happen to draw into Dark General, although it does mean I didn't get to go for lethal in this turn. So it was kind of a double-edged sword. You take the risk or you don't take the risk. These top decks though were absolutely perfect for this matchup. Otherwise I would have not so much struggled too much, but I would have had to have used a decree there, which I wouldn't have really wanted to do unless I absolutely had to.
I seem to have
And obviously no other players, so they conceded. And our final match is a mirror, so Haven on Haven. Luckily we do get to go first, and this draw is not that great, especially against Haven. The boots is okay just in case it was Stormhaven, but getting the Aegis was really what I wanted, so having that in my hand was perfect. Plus we draw Sacred Plea for our 1-drop. It really couldn't have got better for this matchup to start off with. We had a easy clear card, we've got a draw, we've got double Tribunal now, so turn 4 is set up. All we're really missing would have been a 3. That's pretty much it. Unfortunately, Haven mirrors do tend to go this way, where no one really makes a major move for the first few turns. Which is why I basically just throw the Hound out. I'm not really caring about it. I don't want to fill my hand too much. And forcing out their boots is actually really good. And I assume they were aiming for a similar thing against me. Since I know what I've got in my hand here, and I know that Decree can come down next turn, Beast Call is no threat to me at all. If you have hung around till this point in the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe while you're here. Especially if you want to see more content.
You're done for.
So their Tin Soldier, not too bad. I mean, they're basically just trading off what I did. And like I said, the Decree next turn pretty much just resets their board. Boots really isn't a threat to me at this point, and their tea time is actually going to be coming after mine anyway. Plus now they're just aiming to play bold dudes over and over again. Luckily for me, Tribunal is perfect. Along with my own Beast Call, just for good measure. You know, if we're having a bold man measuring contest, I think I'm gonna win. Mainly just because Priest of the Cudgel likes me most, I'm sure of it. So we do get to hit this guy again.
What in the?
Why not? Taurus.
To dust.
Like I said, a card I should probably definitely include in this just because it is really good. Even if I am just including a couple of them, or even just a one-of to go with the Aethers, could work out. But Aegis coming down kills that off real easy.
I am the begetter of justice.
And we've got plenty for next turn. The Tribunal's going to kill whatever. Doesn't really matter. Our Beast Call's going to give him some more damage, so we're going to have at least 12 minimum here. Plus the Tiger. And you can't really risk just playing a Decree on its own either, so if they did just Decree next turn, they would lose to the Aegis. Plus my ward makes it really hard for them to go face. And I think at this point they're trying to just ward up. I never really saw the point of that play, honestly. Especially when you're now risking a 50-50. And you know I've got, what, 7 cards in hand. The odds of me having something that he's going to win this, fairly high.
My lance broke.
And there goes Haven. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe. You can find the deck list in the description below. And this was my updated Haven video. So make sure to check out any of my other videos. They'll should be on the side there, or you can just go visit the channel. I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.